I've been keeping track of this Young Thug case, and it's fascinating. I mean, in case you don't know, Young Thug is a rapper. He's not just like a Fox News placeholder. Like that. No, he's a rapper. He's a young man that does the raps, and he's on trial right now in Fulton County, Georgia, in connection with about 50 shootings in Georgia and one murder. Which means, if nothing else, he is guilty of missing a lot.
How do you have 49 unsuccessful shoots? He's not even racking up bystanders, by the way. Are you just shooting in the air? At 30 failed shootings, drop the gun, pick up a knife. It is much harder to miss. It's weird. I wonder what it's like in that car. I wonder what the pep talk is like. Y'all, listen. Focus up. When we see him, do not ask if that's him. It's making everybody second guess. You making him speed up. You making him not shoot. Just be quiet. Let's see if we can do this. And they missed 30 more times. I know that's not how it goes, but it's fun to imagine. It's also crazy because this man's name is Young Thug. The last place you want to be named Young Thug is court. That's absolutely insane. For a system that loves locking up young black men to show up named Young Thug, you might as well be called Little I Did It. That's Young Thug. All right. Just blew my mind. But the person that's most fascinating to me is his lawyer. His lawyer is white, and he's like white. You know what I mean? He's like, you know that white where it's like somebody bleached a soul or something. Like you hit different levels of white we haven't seen before. He's the whitest person I've ever seen on camera. And his entire defense is fascinating because his defense of Young Thug is just say what Young Thug is accused of doing in his white voice, which does make it sound implausible. Because then he's like, Your Honor, Your Honor, my client has never busted a zip down. It's like, you know what? Now that you say it does sound ridiculous. Like, now that I hear it like that, it doesn't even sound like anybody does that. That's true. You should free this young man. I don't think I've ever heard of any. You know, this young man would never let the blicker spray. It's like, I don't even think that's real. You're right. No. And there's also the word thug. Word thug is one of the slurriest words we have that's not a slur. Like, it's not actually a slur, but it's loaded. You know what I mean? Like, it's like if you copped a slur back. You know? And he's named Young Thug. He's in court. Webster defines thug as a brutal or violent criminal, right? Synonymous with hooligan or troublemaker. His lawyer had a different definition. His lawyer stood in front of the judge and said, Your Honor, thug simply means truly humble under God. Honestly, bars, all right? Like, no matter what happens with the case, you need to get this man in the booth, okay? See what else he's cooking up. Fascinating. I can't see that well. Like, I don't have the best eyes. And so I had to go to optometrist, and we gotta mix up the test a little bit. This is archaic stuff we doing right now is not okay. Like, I get you have to just, in life you have to read, so I get having the reading be part of the test and stuff. But then when you get to the smaller letters, they're trying to trick you anyway. They're like, is it a 3 or an E? It's like, don't play with me right now. This is my future we're talking about. You know, I just wish that the test was more dynamic. Like, yes, I'll read the stuff on the wall, but also, you're an eye doctor. Come up with some new ideas. Just look at me in your office and go, if I don't flinch,
clearly I can't see. You know what I mean? Just buck up at me real quick. If I don't move, I clearly need glasses. But she's an eye doctor. My eye doctor, she's an eye doctor, so you would think that being an eye doctor, you've seen people with worse eyes than me. I'm not legally blind or anything. But then I got done with the test, and she was trying to break the fact that I needed glasses to me like it was bad news or something. She was like, first of all, what is that? You know what I mean? That's for Lifetime movies. They're like that. It's so weird. So she's like, I'm surprised you can see me. I was like, that's probably the most unprofessional diagnosis I've ever gotten. And so I need glasses because I can't do contacts. I can't do it. I cannot do I cannot touch my own eye. Like, I will pass out if I have to touch I'm not a strong man. I will throw up if I have to touch my own eye. And my friends with contacts are like, it's not that bad. You get used to it. It's like, if you get used to it, then why do all my friends that wear contacts can't seem to put them in without their mouth open? Everybody I know that wear contacts, every time be going, you want to get something to eat or what? Don't act like that's normal. Everybody. Nobody has a sexy contact technique. I've never seen someone be like, and now I see it. It's always like, God, I can't do it. I'm weak of spirit. I cannot do it. So I need glasses. And then I go to the optometrist, I don't know anything. So then I'm about to get my glasses from the optometrist. I didn't know that was a huge mark. I didn't know that was like the bottle service of glasses. It's like unnecessarily expensive to get them from the optometrist. So then I'm at the optometrist, and then she sends me out of her office to pick out some glasses. Now they got frames on frames on frames and cases and everything. They got the roller thing with the frames and everything. And so I'm looking at that. Now, I don't know much about fashion, and I don't know anything about glasses, so I need help. My doctor, busy doctoring, all right? And then the receptionist is typing. She's not helpful. So then they send this woman over to me. I don't know what she does. I think she's like an eye nurse or whatever, but she like was not busy at all. And then she comes over to help me pick out glasses. And instead of just helping me pick out glasses, instead of telling me what glasses look good on me and don't look good on me, she just started telling me what my head looked like. And that is not helpful at all. You just give me something to think about when I go home. This is terrible. So then she's like, you got kind of a Franklin, you got kind of a turtle thing going on. So yeah, we're going to have to keep you away from the big frames. You're going to look like Franklin. And I was like, I haven't tried a pair on yet. So now I'm more self-conscious than I was stepping in. And then this is what really bothered me. So then I was sitting waiting to see the doctor. There was a woman, middle-aged about, sitting next to me. So she clearly a patient, right? So then she starts chiming in. She starts telling me what looks good and don't look good. And I'm like, can you see, though? Because you clearly waiting to see the doctor as well. Don't act like I'm... And instead of telling me what looked good or did not look good, they just told me every pair of glasses what black nerd from TVI looked like. Like, it was the most offensive. She's like, that's a little too herbal for you right there. It's like, oh, you look like Norbit. It's like, nobody was talking to you, ma'am. You can't see. I don't know. This is not helpful at all. And I don't think we give enough credit to people with bad eyes. You know? It's people like me that make the world interesting. It is. You look at any ancient civilization, it's people like me are the reason we have mythology. Yo, I was in the woods. And I saw a half man, half horse. Things called a centaur. It's like, nah, it's not what you saw at all. That did not happen, I guarantee you. You saw a nigga on a horse. And your brain could not compute. You just said, half man, half horse, my eyes are never wrong. But to his credit, we did write it down and repeat it for hundreds of years. Yo, you'll never believe it. I saw a mermaid. It's a beautiful woman, half fish, and she did the like thing, and then she went down. She's gone now, but I swear I just saw her. No, you didn't. A bitch was drowning. And you didn't help.
That's what happened. Apparently how like the origin of the mermaid came about. It's like someone in the distance on a boat saw a sea cow really far away and thought it was like a woman, but also a fish. Which means even back then, with his bad eyes, he was like, all right, she thick, I like that. All right, come swim to daddy. I can tell I'm getting older because I finally care about ingredients. You're like, well, you young, you be eating Taco Bell off the floor and stuff. But now I'm like, how much dairy is in there? Because I have places to be tonight. I'm not half as bad as my uncle, though. My uncle found out, he's not even allergic. He just has a slight intolerance for xanthan gum. Right? If you don't know what xanthan gum is, that's fine. It's like a bonding agent. It's in a lot of candies and stuff. The point is, he will go to a restaurant with me and then ask the server if every item has xanthan gum in it, which is absolutely insane to watch. He'll be like, no. Nah, there ain't no xanthan gum in that broccoli. It's like, there's one ingredient in the broccoli, sir. And it's broccoli, you don't need to worry. There's no xanthan gum in this corn. Why would there be xanthan gum in just a side of corn? Just skip the sides. No, this fried chicken steak, it ain't got no xanthan gum in it. And he's always giving way too much information to the server. He's like, cause you see, like that corn will get up in my guts, so don't leave. He's like, you are ruining her day. Just please order something. He's like, you sure ain't no xanthan gum to chicken fried chicken? I was like, just order it or don't. Please. Like, you know the veins you get when you're trying to yell at a family member without yelling? You know what I'm talking about? Where you're like, but like, you're trying to stress like, shut up. And so he ordered the fried chicken steak. And it turns out there was xanthan gum in the chicken fried, which nobody could have known. That's not fair at all. I was rushing him, that's my bad. He was in the bathroom cursing me out. It's like, I got them bad guts, boy. This 70-year-old woman I saw in the news in Uganda that gave birth to twins. 7 years old, gave birth to twins. One of the oldest people on record to give birth to twins. And everyone that I worked with had their opinions about it and everything. But I'm not gonna lie to you. I know I'll never have to have a kid myself, so take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. But it does seem like 70 is the perfect age to have twins. Y'all on the same sleep schedule. Y'all eat all the same foods. You both gotta be careful about falling. It's just, y'all vibing out.
I mean, this tour is special to me, and it's the first time I'm able to really do what I want to do and move how I want to move, as far as all the parts that go into it. I can't wait to see you there.
You ready for your headliner? You seen him on the Daily Show all over YouTube. Put your hands together for Josh Johnson.
I don't know about y'all, but I just paid my taxes and they got me. Oh, they got me good. Oh, they got me real good. I was wondering if they would get me. And then they were like, no, we didn't forget about you. We think you're special. We would never forget. And I know they charge me extra. They got me charged me extra because they know I won't survive jail. So they're like, he gonna pay it. Just write a number. He'll make it happen. It's been great traveling this week. I've been able to go to Milwaukee, Madison, now Minneapolis and everything. When I was in Madison, there was something sort of curious that was happening. I like being in Minneapolis because y'all smile an appropriate amount. You smile when something good is happening. You know what I mean? When I was in Madison, there were so many errant smiles. There were people just looking forward like, huh. I've never been in a city. I told them this too. I told them this to their face. I was like, y'all all walk like you walk into the light. Like, this is crazy. I try to be a jolly person, but this is insane. Nah, man, what? It was wild. And when I was there, I like when people are happy. I hope to make people happy, but when people got a little bit too much of it going on, I do have to get to the bottom of it. You know? And so I did do a couple things. It's something I like to do in any city when I see too many people smiling when I get there. I immediately go to that city's Yelp. Because I'm like, there are problems here somewhere. We just have to find where they are. You know what I mean? Not everything is a 5-star experience. Not everybody gonna give a 5-star. And it didn't take long. I found a 1-star. I won't name the establishment, but the review simply said, their old fashions taste like barbecue sauce. Let's be clear about something. You have to have such a fundamental understanding of how old fashions and barbecue sauce taste to take a sip of alcohol and go, no, that's Sweet Baby Ray's. I know Sweet Baby Ray's. When I taste it, you not slick just because you thinned it up a little bit. Oh, it's tough too, because when you're dealing with some of this happiness in different places, you wonder, did y'all get taxed? Do you know what I mean? They must have skipped over y'all if y'all so happy all the time. And I think sometimes taxes feel extra difficult because when you pay them, you feel like you're paying them for everything that happens next, not to pay for the life you were living up until that point. Does that make sense? It's like when you pay rent. You're paying rent to keep living there. But when it comes to taxes, you're mostly paying for everything that already happened, that you already enjoyed or didn't enjoy, depending on the city. And I think that if you got something back with your taxes, let's say you pay your taxes, they give you that tax return and everything. You can read all the numbers, why they say you owe what you owe or why you got back what you got back. And then they list next to that what they paid for with it. That might make people feel a little better, you know? Because we don't know where our tax dollars go exactly. So then something happens and you feel like you're paying for that and you're like, this isn't what I paid for. And somebody should tell you, oh no, this isn't on you. That's not, that wasn't your money. You know what I mean? Like paying taxes as part of a country feels like when the bill comes and you gotta split it, but you only got wings. Like, hey, I got 6 wings. All right, there are 6 sets of bones in my basket. I didn't take any errant bites or anything. And some of y'all are alcoholics. I am not prepared to split this bill with you. You have your barbecue sauce, old fashions. You have your... Not down for this. Oh. Because everybody's having some money troubles right about now. I mean, from all different ways. People are getting squeezed in lots of different directions, you know? Like we already know, tariffs are almost old news now. But the fallout isn't. The fallout is fresh. The Dow The Dow has only dropped by 1,000 points 11 times in history. And 4 of them were in like the last 2 months. Like this is very bad. If this were a roller coaster, this would be the part of the ride where your neck breaks. Like it's just... Engineers don't build this way. This is not safe. And you see it through the tariffs. I've talked about it before, but those people on the money channels, they're still a bit nervous. They're still freaking out, They still come on every day. One of my favorite things about watching them now is they talk to us like we're the news. They're there doing the news, but they looking right in the camera like, I don't... What y'all think? Oh, it's bad. Like just this week, you had people losing money in all sorts of ways. I mean, Christy Nome. Christy Nome was at a restaurant, got her bag stolen, right? And I don't know. It is wild. Okay, because then you have to... Okay, I'm trying to figure out how to put this. Okay, so then when you report your bag as stolen, right, and you gotta list the contents of your bag, her bag had her driver's license in it, had her passport in it. She had $3,000 in cash in her bag. $3,000 in American dollars. $3,000 in cash. What you doing, Christy? That's $3,000. North American, South of Canada dollars. She had $3,000. That would make sense if this was like the 90s. It's the 90s. You got it like that. You got 3,000 on you. Okay, you might see a food truck want to treat the town. $3,000 in cash in 2025. $3,000 in the year of our Lord Apple Pay. If I had been the cop that she reported to, that the business, and she told me, listen in the back, oh, my DHS badge, my passport, my driver's license, so much stuff was in there. I had a couple of Jolly Ranchers, and oh yeah, $3,000 in cash. I'd be like, do you rap or something? Like, why do you have that much cash on you? No, she had $3,000 in cash. But the kicker for me was she had a bunch of blank checks. I don't even have to, yeah. You still write checks. In 2025, you just got that blank check on you just in case something pop off, and $3,000 in cash isn't enough. This is the most prepared to be mugged individual I've ever seen in my entire life. That is insane. You already got $3,000 in cash. Imagine you pull up on Christy Nome, you're like, give me everything. And then she's like, here, you about to walk away. And then for whatever reason, you don't know why, you just feel led for one moment. You look over your shoulder back at her, and she got a pen. You said give you everything, you know. A bunch of blank checks. I don't even know if the thief would know what to do. Like, there used to be whole departments dedicated to check fraud. And now it's like 2 dudes. People are not writing checks like that anymore. I bet you they dump the contents out. They're like, oh, we score. We got $3,000 in cash. We got her DHS badge. I'm sure she's going to want that back. We got her passport, her driver's license. Oh, we got everything. Why she got a bunch of little papers with her name on it? Some people so conceited. No, because I had an incident happen to me when I was in college, where I left for the break, and when I got back, the RA, resident assistant, comes up to me as soon as I get back on campus, and she's like, hey, I'm gonna walk with you to your room. Now, you could get in trouble at the school I was in. It was a dry campus. You could get in trouble for like having alcohol in your room, or like if they found anything. Sometimes if there was even a whisper of something in your room, they'd at least want to check it out. And so I didn't know if maybe somebody had said something. I lived in my own room. I had my own like dorm room by myself. And so I was like, I know nothing should be in there that I don't know about, unless maybe I left it unlocked. Somebody put something in there. I don't know. So I'm kind of freaking out on the walk to get to my room. And then I go ahead, I open the door. And before I open the door, she's like, okay, don't freak out. And I was like, that's not how you start. It's the least helpful way. She's like, don't freak out. While people were gone on campus, there were a series of break-ins, and your room was one of the ones that was broken into. Right? Now, this isn't like me being like poor me, but everything I had is everything I had. Right? So I like the stuff that I left there, I have one of everything. Right? And same for the stuff at home. And so I'm opening the door thinking like, oh my gosh. Like, I don't have money to replace things that might be missing or broken, you know. So I open the door, and my room is trashed. It's like fully ransacked and everything. And then she's like, you just make a list, okay? Make a list of everything that's missing, and we'll figure out if like the like Department of Public Safety on campus and the school at large can like help you recover some of it, or you know, maybe, who knows, maybe the school can like come up with the funds to help you get the stuff that was missing. And so I look around, and I'm moving clothes out of the way and all this stuff. I opened my closet. They were in my closet too and everything. And it takes a little while, but quietly I realized to myself that they didn't take anything. This. Do you know how embarrassing it is to get your place broken into? And a thief is like, I'm good. What do you do? What do you do? You know, I'm in my head quietly walking around, RA is still standing in the doorway and everything. I'm getting defensive in my head. I'm like, all right, I got a couple of good DVDs, all right? They not Fight Club fans? Like, No, I got a PS1. I know the PS3 is out, but I had a 1. They could pawn that. They don't even have imagination. So finally the RA is like, so, anything? And I was like, yeah, they took my Gucci watch. I had 2 Chanel bracelets. You gotta put the bracelets down. Please write the bracelets down, okay? And I had about $3,000 in cash. It's difficult when people are feeling like they're squeezed so much financially. Like there are things that you have to pay. But the thing, I guess, that gets me sometimes when it comes to paying tax, I feel like some of the reluctance around it is that it feels like you work all year and then you get taxed for this money that's going to be spent on a bunch of things that you didn't agree to, it less like you worked all year and it's to pay for the things that we already enjoyed. Does that make sense? Like the framing of it, I think, is why people have such a problem. Like if you just sent back the tax return and then listed the stuff. I mean? We might be like, oh, I didn't know that I kept the bridge open. That's good. That's pretty good. I use that bridge every day. I'm glad it's not in shambles. That's fantastic news. You have to pay your taxes not just because the government is telling you to. It's not the government being some big bad meanie or something. It's you live here. And you use the road, so maybe chip in so that it doesn't fall all the way apart, And like that's not to say, really quick, that's not to say that I just pay my taxes blindly and love it and never question where it's going, because it is your money as well, so you deserve to have some say in where it goes. That's why we elect people to Congress. It's why we pick the officials that we pick, even on a local level, because we're like, you work for me. You are my employee, and here are the things that I want to see. These are things that I don't want to see. It feels like in this moment, we're in a real predicament of, I guess the best way I can describe it is I used to work at a store, and when I worked there, they promoted this one guy that was like, one of us, one of the cashiers. They promoted him, and they really shouldn't have done it. They clearly weren't paying attention. Like I was barely a good employee, and he was worse than me by far. And they promoted him. I was like, that blows my mind. And I wasn't jealous. It wasn't like I wanted a promotion. I felt like my duties to my level of commitment were right on par. Like I was like, let me stack the grapes. Let me stock the shelves. Don't ask me to do more, and I promise not to do less. Okay. But he was actively bad, and they promoted him. And a good example was he wanted to go to business school, and one of the assistant managers said, "Oh, I used to, go to business school. Like I graduated from business school. I tell you what, I will give you all my old business school books. I don't know how much of it will transfer, how much it will actually help you, but it can get you started before you actually start school. You might be able to learn some of the basic concepts. It'll help you, right?" And that was a very nice thing to do. He didn't need to do that. I respected that very, very much. He saw somebody with a dream. He wanted to help them along, And so he gave him these books. And I'm not even kidding. The next day, this dude comes to work and accidentally knocks over about a pallet's worth of wine because he was walking while reading the book. The book, I'm not even kidding, was called How to Understand Business. And this is who you promoted. You know, we're in the business of selling groceries. We buy groceries from places, we hold them until people want to buy them from us, and then we sell them to them. We're in the business of buying and selling groceries. He will stand in direct conflict with our ability to buy and sell groceries. And you've promoted him. You know, we're in a similar predicament now. As a country, we're in a similar situation because Pete Hegseth got in trouble again for the same thing from before. Basically, if you're not familiar, a bunch of people who are supposed to were using the app Signal to, talk about war plans. And, quick gist, they accidentally invited a journalist, and then the mission kicks off. They do the attack. The attack is successful, and everyone finds out, and they're like, that was dumb. Don't do that again. And everybody was like, we can't promise that. Like, that's not... Okay. Well, fast forward to rewind, we are in the same situation again because unbeknownst to, I guess, anybody at the time, Pete Hegseth had not only been using Signal to discuss war plans, he had a whole other channel where he was just talking to his wife, his brother, and his personal attorney. And you couldn't. This is what genuinely bothers me. Like this is what actually upsets me about the whole thing. Some people are upset. They're like, I can't believe they were discussing such sensitive information that should have been. They can say it's not top secret. They can say it's not classified, but it's at least something that we should hold tight until the mission happens. And he's just discussing it plainly on this app that could be hacked. And it's like those things. Discussing it with people who shouldn't know isn't actually my problem. Maybe this is my own hot take, but I feel like that sort of thing happens all the time. I think anyone who's like married to someone in government, anyone who's married to someone high up in any business knows some things that they're not supposed to know. That's like human, actually. You don't think Michelle Obama? You don't think Michelle Obama was kept up at night knowing stuff she wasn't supposed to know? Do you know what I mean? You think Michelle Obama was in the White House like, Barack, what's wrong? And then Barack was like, it's classified. No. I don't think that happened. I'm sure Michelle was in the White House minding her own business, eating a veggie plate. Barack halfway kicks open the door. I've had it up to here with them. Okay? They want to kill everybody. They want to blow the world up. Now you sitting there, you Michelle, you like, oh, I don't even want my carrots anymore. Oh, no. The thing that bothers me is that Pete just couldn't be professional, and wait for an hour till he got home to tell her in person. Like, just do it the way people normally do it. Walk in the door, be like, you won't believe. Like, that's the way you do it. But when I pay my taxes, I do get upset when I see it blatantly being misused. Like when Pete Hegseth is supposedly building a $40,000 studio in the Pentagon to do his makeup before he goes on TV. I'm like, that, if even $1 of that is mine, I'm very upset. Like, I'm not saying I'm the whole 40, but like, that's so insane. Secretary of, in the makeup room. Should he be at war? Like, every once in a while, you come into contact with somebody that you know from you know in a personal way, and eventually, maybe this has happened to some of you. You turn on local news, and you see them, and you're like, I knew it was gonna be something. You know what I mean? Maybe it's the 8 o'clock, the 10 o'clock news, but they did something. You see that mug shot and everything. When I was in Chicago, I worked with this dude at our job, in the break room, we had a light sensor for the light switch. So you could just press it, lights come on, or, if nobody was in there or if you didn't move for long enough, lights go off, right? And one day, I'm walking into the break room, take my break, lights are off, I walk in, lights come on, and he's sitting there, already in the break room, eating barbecue. And let me go out on a limb right now and say that if you eat barbecue in the dark, you are a murderer, okay? You're already guilty in my mind. If you are that comfortable with bones in the dark, there's no telling what else you're capable of. If you are that comfortable slipping and sliding on your teeth and tongue, barbecue is messy enough in the light. You should have seen his face when the lights came on. It was insanity. And then I walk in and he not even, if it were me and that happened, because I try to put myself in his shoes. I try to be empathetic. I'm like, okay, let's say you eating barbecue in the break room on your break, right? Kind of a heavy meal for a 15-minute break, but to each their own, you know what I mean? You go be sleepy when you come back, but I want everybody to enjoy their life. So let's say you're eating barbecue in the break room and you are somehow doing it so still I'm not saying he should be hitting the rib like corn on the cob. You know what I mean? I'm not I'm not saying he should be digging into it with his face. Like, in case you're wondering, that is, at least in my mind, the sound you make when you eat barbecue in the dark. Like that. If you eat barbecue in the dark, you don't eat it like the rest of us. The rest of us chew like civilized people, but if you in the dark eating barbecue, you are wilding out. You're doing whole other sounds and effects that the rest of us don't do, you know? I'm not saying that you need to be doing a bunch of extra movements when you eat your barbecue. I'm just saying if you're doing it so still, munch, munch, munch. Munch, munch, munch. Munch, 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 munch. Munch, munch, yum. Munch, 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 munch. If you're doing it so subtle that a light sensor, that technology was like, ain't nobody in the room. And then decide to shut the lights off on you, and you still did not feel led to change the conditions of your meal. If you were eating barbecue in the break room and then the lights go off and you're like, that's even better. That tells me you're not right in the head. Something is going on with your mind or your spirit. Something is evil in you. Munching away. And then you think to yourself, oh, what if someone walks in? What if someone walks in and feels like, this is awkward, this is weird. I would hate for them to judge me and my entire personality based off of one instance, you know? Maybe I should get up and paw my way, if the lights don't come on, to the light switch and press it so the lights come on and the room is once again filled with God's holy light. I even tried to extend that olive branch and be like, you know what? He probably didn't want to get barbecue sauce on the switch. You know what I mean? Maybe that's what it was. Maybe he thought if he was flinging his hands, he'd get barbecue sauce on the walls. That would look even scarier because now I walk in, the wall's red, you got a bone in your hand, you munching away. Really try to put myself in that headspace. Try to be fair to him. And after I got through thinking all those thoughts, I was like, nah, the whole thing was weird. No, I was right. It's insane. Okay. Side note. I left that job, right? And one day I was catching up with a different coworker. I was telling them what happened, right? I was like, hey, I was super weird. Like I get in there and, you know, he'd been in the dark, so he wasn't fazed. It wasn't like something just happened and I walked in right after or whatever. And they were like, oh, you know what? I didn't want to tell anybody. But the same thing happened to me. Which means on a different day, this man was eating barbecue so gentle that he lost the light again. And this dude, okay, so look, so my coworker told me, they were like, no, okay, so when I walked in, that light, I think, was genuinely broken because I walked in and it was still dark. Like it didn't just come on because I swung the door open, right? So we at least know now he didn't turn the lights off on himself. Because I did worry about that. I did worry that man took his break, went to the break room with his barbecue, knew what he was about to do, knew how unchristian he was about to behave, set the barbecue down on the table and was like, nobody needs to know. But yeah, so apparently there was a problem with the light in the break room, and they were like, yeah, but when I walked in, he was eating the barbecue, and I'm pretty sure he was choking. Which would make you feel bad for him for a second, until you really put yourself in that situation. Because if you walk in to a dark room, you assume nobody's in there. And the sound of someone choking on barbecue in a dark room does sound like a demon. It does sound... If you walk in and it's like... No, do it real quick. Close your eyes. Close your eyes real quick. I want everybody to close your eyes. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Piece of brisket getting caught in the back of your throat, and now you sound like Beelzebub. No. And so then when the light when the light from the door spilled in, they saw and they couldn't really make him out because they were kind of blocking the light themselves, just standing in the doorway. And they said that they just saw him like eating in the corner, which, why are you facing the wall? I forgot to mention that. That happened to me too. He was facing the wall. It's already dark. You don't need to worry about being seen. But he's facing the wall going. I was like, what did you do? What did you do when that happened? And they were like, I thought it was a demon. I yelled out loud, I rebuke you. And then I closed the door. Oh, man. So then, you know, I'm chilling in my apartment in Chicago and watching the news. And I see a mugshot with a familiar face who had been arrested for trying to rob a barbecue restaurant. It's especially tough right now because I think people are getting squeezed from more angles than we thought was possible, right? It's like, you know, wages aren't increasing, jobs are hard to come by because of layoffs. Some of the layoffs are like the seasonal layoffs when, you know, companies restructure and everything, things that we're actually used to. But then some of them are people losing their jobs in government. Some people are losing their jobs in the private sector in place of potential like AI advancements and stuff, all while you have the tariffs going on. And I truly believe that some of it is preventable. Obviously, there's going to be ebbs and flows with every economy. There's going to be ebbs and flows with every country throughout its history of how rich it is or how markets fluctuate. Some of these are unforced errors and some of these are things that just happen, but it's all happening at one time, you know? And I think very basically, I wish everyone could agree on it, but we're not there yet, that just by being human, just by virtue of being alive, you deserve access to basic necessities, the most basic of things, right? And especially if you're working. If you are working full time and you're still struggling to get the basic, we're talking about food, water, and shelter. We're talking about the most basic things. And I think sometimes when you bring up the people who are having a rough time, they're having a rougher go of it than is just, right? Life isn't fair, but you build the scale so that things can level out, so that they can be just. And when you talk about people who are having a rough time, who need extra help to try to get level, and they're working, they're doing their best. I think people conflate that with people who want luxuries or they want something for free. These people are already working. We are the hardest working country in the world. We clock more hours than anybody else, and we every year have less and less to show for it. We have less to show in healthcare, we have less to show in education and possibility of upward mobility. Every year we work harder, and every year we have less. We take less vacation days than pretty much anyone in the world, and for all of our hard work, we are not seeing the fruits of our labor. And there are people who will tell you, oh, but if you just work a little bit harder, if you just do it this way, oh, I'm smart, I figured it out, you will too. It's people who are not addressing the fact that everyone does not get a fair shake. You know, like you only need to look at me as an example. You don't think I want to be in the NBA? I did everything that I was supposed to do. I ate my greens. All right, I shot the ball. I did the running. I did everything. But trust me, if I show up to an open tryout and shoot my shot for whatever team will have me, they will be calling security, all right? And finances work in a similar way. I'm not coming down on anybody who came up well, went to a good school, and then through that good school, you made a connection, which got you your job, which affords you your lifestyle. I'm not saying you don't work hard. I'm saying everyone doesn't have that same opportunity, you know? And I think that at the very basis, right? At the very basis of food, water, and shelter, people get it in their head that even shelter means, a lavish house or something. Lavish. I'm not talking about lavish things. I'm talking about enough to get by. Everyone is fighting to get by. When you talk to people who don't have about what they want, they just want to be level. You know, they're not asking for expensive, lavish things like outdoor furniture. Patio furniture is ridiculously expensive. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It's literally outside. You don't even want it in your home. It's almost trash. I don't care how comfortable it is. You literally let it get rained on. You know, you buy it from a store and then you bring it inside for a second just to take it out to the backyard and leave it there. And it's too expensive. It's crazy. In fact, when the outdoor furniture is inside, that's when you know it's bad. When I was living with some friends in college, their lawn chairs were the chairs. And I was like, we in a bad situation. We're not doing well. You got the patio furniture in front of the TV. We about to die tomorrow. Whew. Yeah. You know? It's bad. It's bad. And it shouldn't be this bad, you know? You work, you pay your taxes, those things should come back to benefit you. And it's still that there's a narrative that's going on that's got all of us really going after and arguing with each other as if there's limited resources, as if there's limited money, as if there's limited opportunity, and we know there's not. We know that there's actually plenty to go around. Even with the hundreds of millions of us that are in this country, there's plenty to go around because we know how much billionaires have. Because they make it known how much they have, you know? Like you see how much land they own and you're like, that is a lot of people could live there. That's crazy. Or you know that CEO that said he wanted to own all the water? It's like, that's something you keep to yourself. What a sociopathic thing to say. Oh, I want all the water. You can't even drink it. What's wrong with you? That's what kills me. It's like people think that it's solely government. People think that it's their job. They think it's not. I promise it's not. And what really burdens me, what keeps me up at night is that these people are siphoning all of this money. They siphon it from the government. They get benefits from the government. They get tax cuts from the government. They siphon all of this money. They siphon your wealth from you. They siphon it in wages by the fact that they don't increase. They siphon it off of like shrinkflation when they act like they cry poor and then they charge you more for less. They siphon all this money, all to what end? To have a few people have all that money. All of that money, more money than anyone will ever need in their lifetime. And you know it because they don't spend it. They siphon all of this money out. They are literally parasitic. And then they dress like me. That's so crazy. You have all the money in the world and you look like me. what are you doing? That's so crazy. Oh, it doesn't have to be this way. And I know sometimes you can feel powerless, especially when the big thing is happening, when the big thing is just going, you know. But it does, with a movement towards any action that is based in the people's wishes, it has to come to fruition in any instance. And you see it all over the world. You see people rise up in whatever form it takes to make their voices heard. And it's still very much possible. I know that there's a narrative out there that you're like a cog, that there's nothing you can do, and that you might as well just scrounge up as many pennies as you can to get by, and that'll be the best you can ask out of life. You know, it's to the point now where even people who cross over that $1 million threshold, they enter that tax bracket, they still feel that way. You could make $500,000. You could have $300,000 saved up, and you might sell something within your company, make another $200,000. You might cross that $1 million threshold, even by just a little bit, and still be like, I'm barely getting by. And people roll their eyes at that. They scoff at that. But the way that things are set up, unless you are uber rich, it's very easy to drop right out of that tax bracket. Right out, none of that is certain. You know, small business owners, some of them could be considered millionaires, but they'll tell you, they're like, my actual business and the people that I care for, the employees that I employ that depend on me for their benefits, for their livelihood, it's like we are month to month, right? So this structure doesn't end at just taking care of yourself. And it's why everybody, to the best of our ability, we have to be looking at the whole. The way that they play it is the way that benefits them every single time. Someone who's already a billionaire would love for you to just try to be like me. You can do it if you work hard enough. That's the narrative out there. They don't talk about how many government benefits they get, how many tax cuts they get, that they were born rich. They don't let any of that into the story because it would kind of ruin the whole thing. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's literally, it's up to you because we're already there. We're already in a place where I don't see how things are just going to get better by themselves. People are putting burritos on layaway. That's insane. That's so crazy. There are apps now that they come to you and they're like, hey, we'll let you finance your lunch, dog. You know, pay $3 now, we got you. And they do. They have you. And they don't let go. And before you know it, it's been a month, and that burrito that was $12 when you didn't have it is $65 now when you're done paying for it. And it wasn't worth it. And it's siphoned more from you. The things that weren't already taken. They can take your wealth. They're taking it now. They cannot take your worth. If you know your worth, if you remember your worth and you fight for it every day and you fight for it with who you vote for, you go to your town halls and you speak to them and you let them know, we hired you. You work for us. We pay our taxes. Go tell them that this is done. It doesn't have to be this way. We can demand more. And the thing that we're demanding is not some sort of handout. We're demanding our work back to us in proportion for how hard we've worked. These people believe, they genuinely believe that they built this company up by themselves as if there's some idea truly as a self-made man. It's like, even if you built a company and you ship the things to the people and they love your product and they want more of it, and you think you're such a genius, there are people driving that truck. There are people packing up those packages. And then there's the road that you didn't build. You know? In what world should it be like this? That's crazy. And then the narrative gets put back on us that we deserve these pennies, that we deserve such a small share of the thing that we helped build. Look around. Really look around when you walk around your city. Really look around when you travel. Wherever you go in America, no matter who you are, we built this. We built this together. We built it. And I'm not even saying that these like titans of industry don't hold a part in it. I'm not discounting someone having an idea and through ingenuity bring it to fruition to the point where they employ people, to the point where people depend on them. But there are responsibilities that come with that sort of thing. You know, I wanted to start a candy company, and I was like, nah, I'm actually going to be a terrible boss. I'd be a terrible boss. You know, I'd be in there in the candy factory eating all the chocolate, making myself sick. And then when people come to the factory to look at our chocolate, they'd be like, the boss is in the bathroom throwing up again because he's a child that can't stop himself. And that's why I didn't start a business, because I was like, you know, there are other people that are better at it. It's tough. You know, you shouldn't be put in a position where you got to put barbecue that you eat in the dark on layaway. Like that's
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Josh Johnson.
So I saw this video for this robot butler. There's a robot butler that you can buy and bring into your home if you've never watched a sci-fi film. Do you know what I mean? Like if you just avoided all of them, if it's just not your genre, but you're like, ooh, a whole robot. Yeah, let's get him in here. Give him access to all the knives. No, you can. You can do it now. You can order one. It's thousands of dollars. It's very expensive. You could get a robot in your home, do a bunch of like small tasks, chores, things you don't feel like doing. And it's just, you know, it's a whole robot with like legs, arms, hands. They did everything. I don't know if they did toes, but it walks, and it just. The thing that freaks me out about this thing is that in the development along the way, I'm not saying every single company that develops every robot does the same thing, but you've seen the videos. Some of these videos have gone viral because every time they get closer to building a robot that has like perfect balance is either stronger or more adept at a task. Every time they do something like that, it goes viral. We see it. They cover it on like the morning news and stuff. And I just know that to get robots to this point where this robot is at now, that they don't just fall over, it took a long time. You used to see these robots where they, you know, tip. That's not fast enough. You're not going to get your stuff in a timely manner. You need them taking whole steps, and they take whole steps, but they didn't have good foot placement, so then they tip into the middle, they'd fall. And so then we started making ones where the whole purpose is that they can't fall, and the way we tested if they could fall or not was we did kick them. We did almost exclusively kick them. And not little taps either, not like a little hook. Here's a little trick for it. You would see people in the video walk up to the robot like, wow! And the only reason you didn't feel worse for the robot is it didn't have a face. This thing, it looked very sad, and there was one, okay, look, maybe I'm in my head about this. I swear when I was watching, okay, because you know that dog they made? They made like a dog first that couldn't fall. And I was like, so you just go kick a dog. I know it's a robot dog, but like still, you kick this dog and the dog got better and better at not falling, better and better at catching itself and everything, to the point where it got to where it would not fall. It couldn't fall, right? But beyond not being able to fall, they still, you know, they gotta run tests, and the tests were as sophisticated as bow, right? But there was this one time this dude ran up, kicked the robot dog, and the robot dog stumbled. And it's a millisecond. It's so short that I had to watch this video 3,000 times to make sure I actually saw what I saw. But like, and
And then for a split second, you saw it think about going like, but it didn't do it. It didn't do it. And I was like, yeah, but you've been kicking it for a year and a half. You kicked its brother, you kicked its stepdad, like you kicked. And so now you take all that kicking history and you go ahead and put that into a robot in the home that can regular walk. I don't know how tall they are, but you get a robot in your home that's taller than you a fool. Okay? I'm gonna tell you right now, if you gotta look up at your robot, you out your mind. If you yelling at your robot, I know you out of your mind if you over here, hey. That's insane. Because we also not polite. We've been taught to not be polite to the robot. That's been baked in now. I don't even know if you could. It would feel weird for you to be polite if you were polite. You know, millions and millions of people every day say, "Hey Alexa," and you know what they don't say? Please. You want to know how I know that? First Alexa experience I had, I didn't like it. Because it was in the house, but I didn't know where it was. So I was like, all right, so you just inviting the ghosts in then. You way too comfortable with ghosts. Because sooner or later, because you don't know if your house haunted. So now you over here talking to Alexa all the time. Then one day, Alexa voice a little raspy. You don't even clock it. Now you in a whole murder house with a bad history and you don't even... You think, oh, it's malfunctioning. And you got a whole poltergeist going on and you over here calling Amazon. And so then, I go over to my friend's house and my friend's like, oh, hey, we got this new thing. If you want to play some music, just say, hey, Alexa, play whatever. And I was like, hey, electric... I just didn't want to do it. And he was like, no, go ahead, give it a try. I was like, all right. Hey, Alexa, play Kendrick, please. And he was like, why did you say please like that? I was like, I don't know. It's weird. Like, this is weird. This doesn't feel weird to you? And he's like, no, it's not weird. It's future. I was like, all right, the future's uncomfortable. You know what I mean? I just don't think that's good practice for our interactions person to person. That every day you make demands of something without any courtesy, without any politeness, and then we wonder why people are like rude. You know what I mean? It's like more and more you're like, you get to the point where you're dealing with so much, whatever it is, you're dealing with so much AI, you're dealing with so many robots, and you start treating people like AI, like robots, like people who just sort of serve a function. It's like I remember, I was ordering some food, and they do this thing now just to make sure that you got your food when you do I think everybody does. I think Uber Eats, Grubhub, I think everybody does it now, where when they want it at the door. When someone says, I want it handed to me at the door, they have to take a picture, right? So then they take the picture, and it's usually just of the receipt of the bag, right? But then, he's like, can I take a picture? I didn't know about this new policy. I didn't know. And I'm not I want y'all to know, I don't think I'm world famous or something, but he asked me if he wanted to can I take a picture? And I was like, oh yeah, sure. And so then I got next to him. And I felt so bad for him because he truly didn't know what to do because he was I guess he didn't want to correct me. I guess he didn't want to be like, no, please stand away from me. I'm just gonna take a picture of you. Because it also does sound a little weird to be like, hey, I'm gonna take a picture of you, be still. That is a little uncomfortable, but then I had already walked out the door and I'm side to side with him waiting for him to lift the phone. And then this sweet man, just to spare my feelings, turned it on selfie mode. And goes, "Can you lift the bag up for the picture?" I felt yeah. But that is what's happening, is that we're getting to this place where most of our interactions are like so transactional, down to the point of just what the service is, that it doesn't feel like we're having a relationship with a person, even a person who's like doing you a service. So then, of course, maybe in people's minds, the next step would be for a robot to be there. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're doing it with Uber already. Uber switching to these driverless cars. These like Waymos, and it's like, to a certain degree, why wouldn't you? Because people get in their Uber and they don't want to talk to the driver. Maybe the driver doesn't want to talk to them either, and it's just, okay. It's almost a similar experience. You know? It's just the butler thing is so much more off-putting, because it is, okay, it's too, I don't know, like, why'd they have to give it a regular body? That's uncomfortable. Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't even have like a, like, if it had looked like a Power Ranger, then maybe, because like, that's still a little too much like regular body, but just it having a regular body is just too, it is uncomfortable. And it comes in 3 colors. Comes in 3 colors. It comes in like tan, silver, and black. And like a deep black, like an onyx. It comes very black. That's not uncomfortable for anybody? That you can now buy a black? That feels awkward. Imagine you buy one of these Neo things, you buy one of these robots. And let's say it's doing all the tasks. Let's say it's really good. And then you invite one of your black friends over. And it's over here setting the table, not speaking. What are we doing? You could have picked silver. You could have had silver. Silver was an option the entire time. And you were like, no, but I would like black. I would actually enjoy it more. Didn't make white. Didn't even make like a fuchsia. And I'm sure you can trace the thinking down to like how people even like their phones. Like people, like that's like a thing with iPhone, like tan, silver, black, right? But this is different. This feels very different. This feel like when you see it, especially, especially you over here giving orders, not saying please, just. It's a bad look. And they do all this testing. You know what I mean? They do all this. I love product promotion for tech, because then the people who made the tech usually want to do the product promotion. That's like a big thing that comes from, fair enough, the world of tech, but mainly like Steve Jobs. Like Steve Jobs is who we look back and we see, wow, the iPhone revolutionized social. Like social wasn't even really a thing and couldn't really become a thing without the way we use our phone. Like there were just these moments when he held up like an iPod, when he held up an iPhone, that you look back at as like, wow, these are like pivotal moments. And because these people are trying to be like him, even if they're not trying to be exactly like him, they also want those pivotal moments for their career. They want to look back and be enough of a trendsetter and be enough of like a social beacon in tech, in communication, that you can look back at their clip and they held something up or they stood next to something and then it changed the world. Like, I understand why that's enticing, but at the same time, you're not great talking to people. That's almost across the board. We've seen, you remember when Zuckerberg was all in on the metaverse, when he was pouring billions of dollars. The metaverse was going to be the future. The metaverse was going to be how we worked, how we played. It was going to be how we visited people and communicated. There was a vision for the metaverse. He spent billions and billions of dollars pouring it into the metaverse, even though it wasn't profitable, even though people weren't integrating it into their lives fast enough for what they were projecting as like people who had people to answer to, shareholders to answer to and stuff like that. Like, he still went all in, and then he did that product rollout. Showing, and look. He tried. Mark Zuckerberg, if you're not aware, does do an imitation of like a person you would talk to. Like, it's almost good. He does as good of an imitation of like a regular person as he can, and then he tried to do that for the rollout. So the day came. He was going to showcase the metaverse, the way of the future, right? And he comes out and he does his best imitation of like a guy. You saw it. You can go back and watch it. He's like, "Hey, everyone." It's nice to be here today with you. I want to introduce you to the metaverse, and what better way than meeting the version of you that would be in the metaverse. Come on out, Mark. And then the metaverse like avatar of Mark Zuckerberg walks up and does a way better imitation of a guy. Because he's like, come on out, Mark. And then a Zuckerberg dressed exactly like him does walk up and go, "How's it going?" It's like, "Why don't you say hello to everyone?" And you saw Meta Mark be like, "What are you doing? You're making us look bad right now." Because these things are supposed to be the future, and you look at how we've been working our way up to this point. Because we're not talking about like a Roomba. You know, a Roomba. That felt like what future robots should be. Do you know what I mean? Just like doing the function. It's small, it gets into the little space. Every once in a while it like runs into the wall hard enough that you gotta just redirect it. Do you know what I mean? Like you feel like, okay, if your Roomba ever really like tried to square up. Do you know what I mean? Like if your Roomba was ever really feeling froggy one day and got some attitude with you, you could be like, okay, all right. Problem solved. I don't know why you built this full-on robot butler with knuckles. Full of knuckles. Knuckles and like, okay. It's not like, I saw the back of the robot. And it's not, you remember action figures when you were a kid? and how they were just sort of flat and the leg could just like perfectly go up and then down and then like perfectly up and then down. I don't know what the function is because once again, I'm not an engineer. I don't work in tech. I don't act like I'm smarter than any of these people, all right? All these people came together, made this robot. Look, you can make a robot. I can't make a robot. But turned around, this robot is like, it's not at a BBL level, but like this robot is like fully caked up. Like it has cheeks. It has cheeks that are like visible, but like that's just the robot. You know what I mean? Like it's not like it has cheeks and it's like wearing clothes. Like it's just the robot, which means y'all made the cheeks. Somebody made cheeks. That doesn't feel wild to anybody else that somebody made cheeks specifically. And then when they build a product like this, when you have a robot, when it's time to you building a robot, right? Everybody's gotta have something to do. Because you want to do everything, right? You want to walk, and you want to not fall over or bump into walls. Okay, get the kicking guy. Kicking guy is gonna make sure that your robot doesn't just fall over. He's gonna kick it 10,000 times, really make a friend. And then you're gonna need somebody on head duty to make sure it like is going forward, not drooping, whatever. You gotta get somebody on neck, make sure it turns around and stuff. It just makes me wonder if this robot make me wonder if there was just somebody that they didn't trust with the math. They didn't trust with the math, so that they were like, hey, we'll let you design whatever part you want. And he got all excited and he came in on Monday. And he's like, I got perfect right here. And I guess nobody wanted to hurt his feelings. They over there in the boardroom talking about, I guess it's padding technically if it ever does fall, like in a disaster. And so then they set this prototype out with like a real butt. Rest of it does not look real at all, by the way. This is crazy. This is crazy because then they have the person, whenever they do any product rollout, they do like a Q&A, or they do a test in front of an audience, or if it's like a pre-tape thing, they'll have somebody there asking questions that obviously the public would ask. And and so this person's asking questions like, how strong is it? And it's like, oh, it's very strong. It has all of this like power per square inch, however they measure it, right? And they gave it like, I don't know, was it a chestnut or a walnut or something like that? But they were like, can you go ahead and break this? Because, you know, once again, if you ever watch a sci-fi movie, that should be dust immediately. That should be, the robot should be able to be like, you know? And so they, you know, went ahead and gave the robot this nut to break. And the robot was like, and I didn't see it break it. I was like, all right, that actually puts me at a little bit of ease. Like, genuinely, it does. It's like, okay, you know, I thought for it to have fingers, it has palms, it has fingers, knuckles. It's nice to know that if the robot tried to punch you, it's gonna be like, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of nice to know this robot can only kill you if you already dying. Do you know what I mean? Like, it could squeeze a pillow just enough. Because to a certain degree, this is supposed to be the future, right? The future is supposed to be as convenient as possible. Absolute convenience, so you get your time back, and so your life won't be as hard. Here's the thing, though. Like, I'm gonna stay on this thing probably for years, because products like this keep coming out. This is my thing. If you've ever met somebody who's had a very easy life, very convenient life, that has never really been through anything, has never had like an obstacle in their way, they almost always, without a doubt, suck. Like really bad. Like these are the worst people in the world. Like, when you meet them, you're like, that's terrible. That's terrible. And you find out because you're always there when the first thing that has ever happened to them happens to them. The first time anything has ever happened to them, it happens in front of you. And then you're like, all right, well, let's figure it out, because you've been through things. This doesn't even register for you. This is like a 5 for them on the Richter scale of an earthquake, and their life is over. You know what I mean? They got a flat tire. And life is over. They're not in the city right now, and they have a flat tire. What should they do? I guess they have to die here. See, they've never really been through anything, and anything that almost happened to them, they got to ask their parents to take care of it, and their parents took care of it, or they just played dumb until somebody else did something about it. And now, in this moment, what a terrible career-ending day. You got a flat tire. What are you gonna do? What's the plan here? And they panic. They want to call their parents to do something about it, but their parents are... Yeah, I mean, their parents are... Like, you know... They want to call their parents, but they can't, because their parents are vacationing in Greece. And so it's like, they might not even have service on the boat. Like, it's just, what am I gonna do? Never been through anything in their entire life. What am I gonna do? They look to you. And they're like, this has never happened before. It's the worst thing that's ever happened. We're on our way to vacation and catch a flat tire. What are we gonna do? And you're like, oh, do you have a spare? And you hear them say, is that what that is back there? I knew it came with the car, but I expected it to just turn on one day or something. This has been back there not being a wheel this entire time. You know? And if they didn't have you there, I don't know what they would do. And so we want these lives of convenience. We want these lives where everything is out of our way, where nothing that we don't want to do takes up any time. But then what kind of person does that make you? I'm not saying it's fun to do all your chores or wait in line, but it is a human experience. This is your life. You know, sometimes there are things that genuinely suck. I've been at the airport before for 36 hours. There was one time I was at the airport and I couldn't get out, and then here's the thing, if I decided to live there, I could have left. But I have been kept on such a Ferris wheel of mistakes, canceled flights, delayed flights, and just general annoying small tragedies that I just ended up staying in the airport. I almost slept at that airport twice, right? But at the same time, I had a lot of good experiences, even in that time, even when I was waiting. Turns out that airport did have pretty good food, so I ate very well for the few meals I could muster. Already a bathroom there. I can get adventurous. I'm just saying, sometimes people at airports will sell you like tiny spicy chicken or something like that, and you're like, all right, I'll just have it, not realize it, like it is spicy, and there is a bathroom on the plane, but like, traveling spicy hit different, you know what I mean? Like, if you traveling spicy, it's doing something to your life you're not ready for. There's nothing like being in a car and you traveling spicy. And now you looking at exits. Every exit, you're like, no, you know when you traveling spicy, you gotta breathe it out. No, traveling spicy is very dangerous. And I was able to do it. But that's the thing, is it, when things are happening that are inconvenient or even terrible, and they're happening, they're part of your life. You can either just hate your life, or you could be like, this is my life for a little while. Anyone who always wants, this is gonna sound harsh, but just hear me out. Because I have friends who every single inconvenience, they just want to be over already. And I'm like, okay, but if you tried to speed run every single thing that ever happened that was not convenient, do you know how little life you would have? Your life would be over so quickly. Your life would be over if you were like, oh, I just want to get out of this conversation. I just want to get out of this. I just want to get out of this line. I just want to get out of this airport. I just want to. And you're missing your entire life. Oh, I just want to get out of this conversation. What if they about to say something dope? You know what I mean? What if they're about to say something very cool? What if they're about to say, wow, you're such a good listener. Almost nobody listens to my stories. You want to chill at my vacation house? What if that was just about to happen? And now you can cut the thing short just because they were going on and on about whales. This is your life, All of it is precious, even the inconvenient parts. Because that's the thing. That's all they can really sell you. They can sell you a little less inconvenience. They can't sell you ending your pain. They cannot sell you ending your loneliness. All of the things that matter, all the real things that are real struggles that people go through that actually end up making them very interesting people that you would want to get to know and spend time with. None of these tech people can cure that anyway. So then they're trying to sell you the little bit of convenience that maybe will make you feel like, oh, if I got all this time back, what does time back even mean? What does time back really mean? If you were at your home washing dishes, look, nobody likes washing dishes. I don't know if anybody likes washing dishes. It's old food, it's kind of nasty. You're like, what did I even have? What did I eat that sticks to the bowl like this? Because whatever that is in me. Is it sticking to me the way it's sticking to the bowl? That's crazy. I don't know if I'll ever get rid of this. If I can't get rid of the stain, then, ooh, my insides are stained right now. Sure. But I think it is such an important practice to appreciate all of these moments in your life. So often, we're trying to be distracted from the thing that if we focused on, we might enjoy. Because I'm not saying all of a sudden you'll love washing the dishes, but I think while you're washing the dishes and while you're sitting there thinking, maybe thinking about your day, maybe thinking about nothing, maybe thinking about the dishes, you could come potentially to an appreciation of the fact that you have a home. You have a home where you can cook your meals. You have dishes. You have dishes that you can use to serve your family, food that you worked for, that maybe something good can come of it, you know? Because this robot, I don't know. It's so expensive. It's so crazy expensive. Like it's so much money. Why don't you just hire a person? You could hire a person. If you have robot money and you've never seen any sci-fi, still hire a person. You could watch movies with your butler. You could make that one of the jobs. I need you to do windows, floors, and hang out. Like I do need a friend. I've been very lonely. It's incredibly important to not take for granted all those things that even though they're inconvenient, they're a part of your life, you know? I've made friends doing things I didn't want to do. Like there were moments where I was like, oh, this thing is taking up my time, or maybe I'm delayed. You know, sometimes you get delayed, whether it's the train, it's the airport, you're waiting on a bus, you get delayed. And you don't want to be delayed. You want to get where you're going. That's why you want to go there. I understand. But everyone's delayed. It's the same problem everyone has. And everyone having the same problem is one of the fastest ways to build community. You know? Because now everybody's upset that you're delayed. And there's always that one person that isn't traveling with anyone. So they kick it off for everybody. Oh! I'm sure they seem upset. They seem upset. But I think they're having this outburst because they don't have anybody to turn to be like, can you believe? So then they turn to you. Can you believe? They turned to me and they were like, can you believe? And I was like, no, I do believe. Like, I don't think they would do it as a prank. Like, I do believe them when they say it's not here yet, because I also looked out the window and it's not here yet. And I don't think they, like, hide in it. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be a very bad prank to be like, we gonna tell them the flight not coming. You know how people love that, right? Like, that's one of my favorite things. I can't believe they didn't do that on Punk'd. I can't believe that Ashton Kutcher didn't delay a whole flight just so that people could be like, and then... No, it's fine. It's fine, it'll be okay. It'll be all right. You know? And she was like, yeah, maybe if it gets here, you know, it'll be all right. But it'll be all right. I was like, well, what is it? What's wrong? What's wrong? She's like, I have somewhere to be. I'm supposed to meet my grandbaby. I'm supposed to meet my grandbaby, right? And immediately I had more empathy for where she was coming from, because she wasn't just upset that the flight was delayed because she likes being a problem. She is a grandbaby to me. I've never had a grandbaby to meet, but I imagine if I did, I would be in a hurry. I have a grandbaby to me. I was like, oh, really? You have a grandbaby? How old? And she's like, she was born 3 days ago. I was like, wow. 3 days ago, okay. It does sound like you got plenty of time to get over there, because 3 is, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, like, she knew, like that. You know what I mean? Like, she got a whole life ahead of her, and I think it'll be fine, you know? I was like, do you have any pictures? And she was like, oh, do I have pictures? And then she showed me pictures of her brand new grandbaby, and it was incredibly sweet. We just sat there at the gate. I didn't even mention to her that I had been at this airport for 32 hours. And she was showing me pictures of her grandbaby. It was incredible. I just think that a lot of things could be missed out on, with this robot, because even the duties, even the stuff that it's supposed to do, that's stuff that would be great to do with your people. You want this thing to cook for you or whatever, why don't you invite your friends over, you have a meal together. That's a memory. Now you're not like laying in front of the TV waiting for this robot to finish. A robot, by the way, that if it came down to some nuts in the dish, because even in the product rollout, they had this, I guess they had this journalist ask the questions we would ask. And so one of the questions was, well, how do I know, you say this robot can lift whatever, like 150 pounds over its head. How do I know that it's not gonna kill me in my sleep? If you're worried that your black robot is gonna kill you in your sleep, do you know? I'll tell you right now. I'm not a scientist. I'm not into tech like that. I'm not an engineer. I don't. The number one way to not have your black robot kill you in your sleep is to not have a black robot in your house at all.
Mira.